This video is sponsored by G2A. Use cashback code DORON for 3% off on Warcraft products. Hello guys, this is Doron's Movies, and today I will be talking about Outland and what is going on with this planet since we mainly left it after the Burning Crusade. Very quickly covering the lore of the dying world and then giving my own speculations. So without further ado, let's get into the lore. We all know that Outland was once the world of Draenor. Also known as Rakshar and Dogar, it was once a planet very similar to Azeroth. There was Titan influence, various native races, and constant conflict. To cut the long story short, when the Orcish horde was defeated and ner'zhul searched for other worlds to invade, conquer, and inhabit, he recklessly opened dimensional portals across Draenor. The very presence of so many portals began to tear the fabric of the planet apart, causing massive tidal waves, earthquakes, explosions, and volcanoes to erupt. The cataclysm was so significant that it literally shattered the entire planet, with only a small chunk remaining, now known as Outland. The planet was just so broken that it was hurled towards the Twisting Nether, where it would remain, constantly degrading and falling apart. Most of the native life was wiped out with either the explosions or the hostile environment that was subsequently created. Almost the entirety of the wildlife either became sickly and eventually died out, or they were just corrupted by all the various energies inside Outland. However, scattered races remained, most notably the Orcs, Ogres, Draenei, and some Arakoa. As the planet was now in the Twisting Nether, all sorts of travelers would arrive, and most notably the destructive demons would begin to roam Outland. One of the most powerful ones was the Pit Lord Magteridon, who rallied the surviving Orcs and the scattered demons, essentially controlling the planet for quite some time. Eventually, the events get unraveled on Azeroth, and the Night Elf demon hunter Illidan, the Naga, and the Blood Elves fled to Outland, searching for a new home, and in the case of Illidan, searching for a way to bring an end to the Burning Legion. Their combined forces managed to defeat and imprison Magteridon and would conquer most of Outland. Illidan would then use it as his main base of operations, and from it would launch invasions into the demonic homeworlds, would learn more about the Burning Legion and Sargeras, and would ultimately prepare the plan that we had recently accomplished that brought an end to Sargeras. At the same time, the forces of the light as well as darkness would see the potential in Outland, with the demons trying to take over the planet and to invade Azeroth from it, and with the Naru sending their agents to secure the world for their own purposes. Nonetheless, ultimately the forces of Azeroth would arrive through the Dark Portal and would quickly establish quite an influence. Misguided at the time, we had defeated Illidan and his armies, essentially destroying any sort of centralized power in Outland. Aside from Illidan, we had vanquished about 90% of the threats on the planet with all the massive demons and the creatures that lived on Outland, and an era of peace would be brought to the remnants of Draenor, whatever that means. However, as the Burning Crusade was essentially over 15 years ago, what is happening with this world right now, and will it ever be relevant in the future? So currently these are just my speculations, as there is very limited information in regards to Outland, as the Burning Crusade occurred ages ago. Most notably, in the very recent times, Troll had gone to Nagrand with his family to live the rest of his life in peace presumably, but would eventually be recruited by Saurfang. Now, keep in mind, this is Nagrand, so the only zone that even remotely resembles Draenor, but even Varrock himself said that it felt wrong that the world looked so good, as the planet was broken and is constantly falling apart. This is evident by the grain vanishing entirely, even by touch. Archmage Vargoth also confirms this by saying that the state of Outland is constantly degrading, and presumably it will eventually fall apart and it won't be able to support any sort of life. So far, we have defeated most of the big threats on the planet, and most of the Horde and Alliance forces have left Outland, even the big and important characters like Khadgar or Trollbane. Most likely at this point from Azeroth, it's either those that are maintaining some of the outposts and possibly researchers, but we definitely no longer have a big presence there. The allied Magar that recently joined are from the alternate world of Draenor, but from the main universe, there are still some Magar living in peace in a Grand, possibly very close to Troll, which would be one of the main reasons why he even decided to go there. In my own opinion, I don't think much can be done in regards to Outland, as the planet is just too far gone. As we have seen in the most recent cinematic, even the most well-preserved area in a Grand is falling apart, despite having the appearance of a very regular zone. I think it is only a matter of time before Outland is no longer habitable. How long it will take to reach that time is really up for speculation, and it is hard to tell. How we see it happening is that the zones will become less and less habitable over time, making it unable to grow any crops or food, which will drive the current inhabitants to more fertile lands, but eventually these lands will also shrink very much to a point of no return. It is also entirely possible that the landmass itself will get more and more divided, until there are like 10-20 pieces of Outland floating around in the Twisting Nether that will subsequently become even more divided. Thank you for watching. Check out what happened to Decilis by clicking on the screen, and also check out the second channel, Lawrence Academy, for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.